Hello, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. We are going to be continuing our playthrough of the Roottrees are dead today. We'll see how it goes. We have 4 more in the base list to identify. So it's probably going to be a lot of backtracking through paperwork here. We'll see how that goes. Sorry, pushing buttons. Let's check in with the kitties real quick here. We do have bath time for Sky up in the tree. Ember is in her spot across from the keyboard. She hasn't had to give up her location yet. And then we have Mason and Sammy on the bed. Let's see. Molly is under my feet again. Craned my head around and I could see her staring at me. But yeah, hey there. Welcome, Jay. Welcome. I see you have jumped into the Discord as well. Trying to get the calibration on the camera right here. We'll see how we go. I'm looking down more than I normally do. It's weird. Might have to. One more try. Oh, that's worse. Okay, there we go, finally. There are so many buttons that are part of the routine here. Someday, I will figure out a way to create a sort of mech cockpit frame around myself so I have more room for buttons. Okay, let's see here. When last we left off, we had these 4 remaining. The male child of James Roottrees, what I presume is the female child of Edward Roottrees, the details of Elias Clancy Roottrees, as well as confirmation on Tessa over here. I feel like we've got this nailed down. There is only one male husband, one husband name remaining here. So it got to be that one. Catherine Wilkins here makes sense because Elias married into the Wilkins kind of repair shop. So we don't know if Helen Lennon is Miracle's wife. We don't know if it's Joan Monroe that is Elias C's wife. And we have no idea what Wolf Roottrees does. Similarly, we don't know what November Roottrees, who is the remaining name, and they are the only child that appears in this picture. We don't know what they do. They have got to be late teens by now. So at least they would be K-12. At least. Now, they could have an actual job. Similarly here, we can't get a lot of indication of age by look here. Even by photos. Okay, no, this is a newspaper photo, so black and white's plausible. So we've been kind of backtracking through documents in similar, trying to find out if there's anything that we can kind of springboard off of. One thing I would like as far as improvements on this is no notebook limit. Just give me a secondary scroll bar to cycle through more tabs. I feel like we're on target as far as Edward Clancy over here. And potentially we could have John Miller as another name here, but unclear. Don't know what the second name would be, but I feel confident Edward Clancy Roottrees is one of them. The, quote, twisted twin, and the one that Clancy Edward was approached by a child that said, you're my father, essentially. And it does not match up with Samantha being that child. I feel like Samantha being the like a surprise child in the family tree is a bit of a smokescreen for this. But we'll have to see. So looking at our evidence list once more, we still have Clark in the names here, which I strongly suspect this is leaning towards information about the twin. There is Eli C is mentioned here. Let's turn the music down a little bit. Eli C is mentioned here, and that they have a solid marriage, but past that, we don't know. Then like this helps us identify so that, you know, Eli C, Miracles Eli, and Uncle Junior implies that there is a Uncle Elias Jr. That the other two Elis, so we have Eli C, there's also an Eli M, which connects to Miracle there. The combination of naming them after a prior generation on 2 levels. Naming of the children here. The potential that female names get mushed together versus having like a junior or the X kind of structure. And then this is the important one, certified male for Edward Clancy Roottrees. But as for identifying some of the others, that doesn't help. The conflict surrounding Caroline and I think it's Carl. Yeah. I don't know that that really gives us a good springboard. And this is to identify the daughter here, to give us a picture of her. So what else? What's that? We've identified them. It doesn't really help us. So this is the Christmas card with Wolf in it. Just listening to his parents' latest music is one kind of suspect because his parents haven't really been active much. I think the last record that they released was 80s, like last track, and it's not like notable. So I get the impression that he is young, but we don't really have a good marker for it. Could be college, but college didn't ping last time. Elias C. is supposed to have a knowledge profession, but without knowing if we have pinned these others, cycling this doesn't help us. Because we need all 4 of them to stick. But we are very strongly in a sort of kind of guess territory with some of these. It explicitly has called out with these last kind of few jumps, we are just trying things that you are like, they're either loose inferences or you just have to make an assumption and see if you can connect the dots. Okay, so I don't think we've looked up a Helen Lennon. Let's make sure we have the name correct. Helen and Lennon. Periodicals, we'll look at Butler County. Nothing there. Okay. Linus Cornwall. Did we already look that one up just for confirmation? This is supposed to be a relatively famous name, Cornwall. No. Joan Monroe. Hello, hello, Molly. Hello. Hello. You come to sit with me. I haven't just looked up Cornwall. Good point. No such luck. No, actually. Limus. No. Unfortunate. Joan Monroe. I must type around the cat. Unfortunate. Author and title. I stopped petting her and she softly pawed at me. She's a very active lap sitter. She kind of wants massaging. There you go. Yeah. There you go. Is there something about James Roottrees that we can find that might give us some more? Yep. Okay. Seems to have left Butler County by the time Jim and Diamond gained notoriety. Two-year-old daughter named Candy. This is a way to identify the name of the daughter. This is when he left Butler County. Almost certainly wouldn't be Teen Blast, but must search around the cat. Molly is generally very soft-furred on a majority of her body, but the spinal ridge for her fur is really coarse. Like behind the shoulders to the base of the tail. Very, very coarse fur. So she really seems to like scratches down that area. Spider search doesn't help us here. I think Wolf didn't show up in anything. Last tree. Where has Wolf shown up? Of any other names that we can spot? Something middle school, but we can't identify that, and it doesn't necessarily help. It's the school that Chris mentioned. Was the conspiracy. Do here, we do a relay off of it. Carnegie Mellon. Is it? Nothing. And we know Carnegie Mellon is, but was hoping for just maybe a tangent, but that's GE. Hello there, EXO. Welcome. We're playing The Roottrees Are Dead. It is an investigation game. I am currently distracted by a cat. She clearly needs attention, or she will grab at a microphone. Quaritch. Is there anything about April Quaritch? Don't think. Wouldn't be. Thank you, Axel. You are soaking attention, aren't you, Molly? Yeah. She says, I love everything about this. Keep doing it. Really working my fingers in on the outside of her right ear and scratching her left chin. She seems to be okay with it. Seems to be primarily the cheeks. Hey there. Is it meant to be Alatha or you know, Al, you know, Alla? Alastor. Okay. That works. Welcome. Okay, who could we be searching for to relay off of this? We have 4 remaining, Maddock. 4 remaining. I'm pretty sure these 2 are not remaining. But Wolf Roottrees, November Roottrees, and Elias C. And the spouses of Elias and Miracle. There is, between the 3 of them remaining, there's too much uncertainty to guess. There are too many permutations. 2 configurations of these spouses, piles of configurations for his profession, as well as for their current profession. This is probably right, but we don't know about Wolf, or are not able to pin down what he is. Because again, it is implied that he is in a knowledge profession, but that is a huge bucket. And it also could be a red herring, is that her brothers seem to have gone into knowledge professions, but that doesn't mean that Elias settled there. No, he could effectively be a housewife. Good. So we've... I mean, Elias could be anything at this point, because we just don't have hard data. Where's Clancy? He went into law and was forgiven about the marriage. We're gonna take a little bit longer before we either consult the ducky or call out to chat. I want to see if we can get just a bit further, but I also don't want to stall out this early. This will lead to the father, the progenitor, essentially. And Watchman of the Year ultimately leads us to the business magazine. Which can also lead us to the article but the article is tapped is the thing. There's not supposed to be any further information here. Carl was after Elias C's time. We haven't been able to find anything further in the diaries. And this is supposed to still have some information in it. There's something about this that would tell us anything. There's an implication of them being involved in activism. Is there anything like that in here? Still, that would be very... He's very young for that. For, like, public speaker. His name doesn't appear anywhere, but he could also have what amounts to an alias. His mother's name doesn't show up. Because this is his birth name, but that doesn't mean that it stayed that way. Searching for the spouse names got us nowhere. Again, aside from here. There's no November Roottrees hanging around, I thought. Spelled right. He became a lawyer. Clancy Edward Roottrees. It's the Clancy Trust. We don't really care about the trust for this purpose. So who we care about is Edward Roottrees, for the moment. As Elias C is also important here. And this hasn't come up with anything. No. All right, we're going to rubber duck once here. That is a worthless hint. That is like the first thing. All right, Maddock, what do you got for me? Because the rubber duck has failed me. The rubber duck has, like, tried to use the most basic mechanic of the game. Swear to God. And it better not be critical. Five pieces. Recipe and flavor. Roottrees Jr.'s architecture firm, in case you hadn't just inferred that he was the architect. I mean, neat, but not ultimately useful. Everything we know about Jim Roottrees. We know that he has become a recluse. Do we have any other periodicals or sources that might lead us to understand something else? Because if he's, if he went, full hermit in the woods, maybe there's like a prepper magazine we can find, But we know that when we looked up Jim Roottrees here, we can also do James, but this is when he initially left and tells us Candy's name. About and James doesn't show up in Butler County. It's Jim at that point. And with Jim or James, we are only going to get references to his work with Diamond LaRue. Cherry Tree and Sounds of Laughter don't lead us anywhere as far as sound of. Which doesn't lead us anywhere off of their albums. It hasn't made a public appearance since '96. Which is around the same time as the photo here. So 2 years ago is when this Christmas photo appeared saying they're listening to their latest music. But the latest music was early 90s, which would imply that it is before that, which would be weird to have a Christmas card saying listening to their latest music when it is like less popular and old. We know their fan club still gets information here. How would we find new music that they haven't released yet? Because if they had a media company, we could relay it there. We got from here, we relayed into the band, which was before we found her name fully, but the band gives you her picture. And this gave us the Christmas card that gives us Wolf's picture. But what else was James up to? He's not mentioned in any of the periodicals that we have, aside from the paper that effectively says he left. And Wolf isn't mentioned anywhere. She is apparently not going to show up in this kind of stuff, but evidence-wise, it is informing us that there is more to know about this album. When did... Because we know there is the scandal involving Kim not wanting to talk about anything to do with her sister. I'm sorry, Jane, not wanting anything to do with his sister. And it's supposed to be that this was the breakup of them, but that was before they went on to do this. What happened in 96, though? '82 is Guy's car. Madsen stepping down. Thomas Overwood being a... There's a lot of things about 1996. Like, a whole lot of stuff about 1996. A lot of the pictures are from then, again, 2 years ago. Was the... Oh, how about... It's worth a shot. What happened in 1996? So I thought we had Gene Del Vecchio. When did that happen? Starlet's a defunct one. That isn't going to help, and Business Monthly is too new. There's got to be something that happened around 96. Do we have any other indications of stuff? It can be a fun one to relax to, Dodds. It's the sort of like, we're just thinking on stuff. Hey there, Jordan. Welcome. This is what we relayed off of before. Old Ant campaigns were hung over the record player, and I was never interested. It's Clark J. something. We know that it relayed off of him from here. Oh. All of his old ed. Yeah. Yeah, I overlooked that. That's how my father was connected to the Roottrees Candy Company, is advertising. All right. That's at least a start. That exact thing is the fun of this. Yes, exactly, Medic. There are little notes here that it's not just that they slipped it into the sentence. This is all about Clark and the fact that Clark started a jingle company, an advertising company, and it's about Clark. But then that's how my father was connected. Like, that's good. That's subtle, ultimately. I wonder. Wanted to see if there were any markings. Because that would have been the subsequent generation. But if we do... No such luck, but yes, that would be interesting if there were markers that tied him there, because that's another fun thing. Is there's some pieces of information that allow you to... I'm sorry, I don't know if... So a Jordan popped into the Twitch channel, and I don't know if I welcomed them. If I didn't welcome Jordan. Because, like, he could be college age at this point, because that would line up with, like, Chris. But we don't know. Pretty sure she's a mechanic. They refer to it as a fixer, but I don't feel like she's involved in the hiring of people for shady jobs, given her association with a mechanic's shop. So... other things could we find? Marker coal. We know this should just relay us to the website ultimately. This is any attempts to find out more about the legal troubles. That is a decent inference, and it's hard to figure out. Now, is this the last we knew of her at the time, or is it an inferred one? Because given her image and that the last we know of her, as of right now, is a child scrawled, like a crayon scrawled name on the back of a picture signed by all of the other people. She is the child in the picture. And that's the only place that a root tree would fit. Right. She should be much older now. Like, she should be college age by now. But we don't actually know that. And if she has, like, let's say she's dead, then our last known age, which is the requirement for the pin board, would be K-12. That was their last known profession. Doesn't make sense that this is the only place she appears, though. All we know about her that lines up as Edward's child is the controversy about Edward's marriage, the implicit controversy about Edward's marriage. But that's it. Currently. So another marker is this picture. So this is Lauren talking about it. I also didn't think it was fair that Miracle made it in since he's a 5-piece. I guess my inner child still holds a grudge. Now, why would she hold a grudge against Miracle, and how does that unfold? There's something with Miracle and his branch of the family that has questions about it. Whether those go anywhere, I don't know. Because there is a tether of legal trouble associated with this thing. Will make a special appearance. This summer of 96. Everything happens in 96. What went down in 96? So this is in 94, the attempt to remove them. That's after. It's 84. This was... yeah. She was born Carly Rose, but she wants to be called Rose because her sisters all have RH names. Is there... These are, again, not the ones that have evidence remaining to them. You know that the title doesn't get us anywhere, and again, it's saying this doesn't have a relay off of it. Is... So this is an implication of some sort of issue with Carl Roottrees, between Carl and Caroline Morden, or at least an issue they were involved in that creates some sort of tension here. I mean, no, Carl Roottrees only shows up in the magazine, I think. Still Watchman of the Year, which was... It's 1987, which doesn't give us any sort of correlation with the date. And we have moved away from that being a marker. I think this is just telling us that we don't know everything about Jim or James. But I don't know how to parlay what we've got into a new data point. And this is... This is, I think, the critical point of that one. I mean, they've... Just that it's James already breaks the convention somewhat. Yeah, because he's the firstborn male, but he doesn't carry any of the other names down. Because he would be an Elias or an Edward Jr. here. And you'd think Edward would stick there. He wouldn't be Clancy Jr. just because it would be hard to search it. So we've already broken the name convention there. And since he was born Wolf, I don't expect they'd change it. Same way with Candy. Yeah, Wolf is verging on an edgy name, Jay, and Candy has two issues. It is dangerously close to a stripper name, especially given her mother's last name. Yes, and then Matic, it's there's Candy Roottrees has a painful correlation with the family candy company Roottrees Candy. And that's gotta suck because you are going to be known to be the rich girl that gets her money from Roottrees Candy. All right, gonna take a quick break, be right back, and we'll see what we can find after that. Got a cat underfoot. And we're back. This seems like a good fit. This seems like a good fit. We aren't certain about the spouses here. We have whatever the 96 incident is. We have the fact that the Free Spirits picture doesn't consider it intuition because we have had this picture available for some time, the November's presence. Hello, Gojo. Hello. Welcome. Is that your preferred Digimon, Gojo? Coincidence of stance. Remember explicitly what it's called, but the particular breed of mysticism that exists within that religious structure that is kind of swept to the side in modern understanding is always interesting. Maybe? But there was a whole tradition of things like the Key of Solomon being referenced as a way to invoke the names of angels and demons for essentially magic, you know? I believe there's one fallen angel that is like invoked for the purposes of growing crops and providing familiars. Is there anything about her that we can ID? We know there's the farm. Was she listed in the present of the farm? Because we know that was how we got her profession, is that Gwyneth Madsen was on the farm. She's a witch. Is that... Welcome back, Molly. Have you come to nap? Molly has returned to nap. I wonder... Okay. It's the Anderson farm. I just wanted to double check. Caroline Madsen is involved in protests related to the farm. Miss Cattrall here is the reference to Gwyneth. Do I know about Genshin, as in Genshin Impact, Gojo? If so, I did play that before, but the presence of the gacha element, like its constant presence, started to annoy me. Gameplay wise, it's not bad. It's a decent game. It has a lot of the trappings of a gacha aside from just its presence. You have X items and those are kind of a gacha, and you have these items which you grind for. It's like, but the exploration and whatnot was fun while it lasted. To some extent, it's kind of painful that gacha has essentially become a whole genre. I have done live streams of Genshin Impact, Gojo. Shameless plug, my VODs all of my VODs are available on my YouTube channel, and you would be able to find the Genshin Impact VODs. This has been your subtle advertising of my channel. Slice and Gwyneth. They married, had made candy instead, became a tourist attraction. Gojo, this game is called The Roottrees Are Dead. It's kind of a private investigator deduction kind of game where we use late 90s internet tech and the like to identify all of these people. We need to know their names and professions and pictures and whatnot. We are mapping out the family tree. We've only got a few to find. That seems right now. There absolutely must be clues. He carried the root tree name since it's closer to this generation. This generation was much more prone to carrying the name, except for this line. This line didn't carry the name very much. But Clancy in particular, that is... There's more that we don't know fully about Clancy yet. But this guy in particular seemed pretty hardcore about the lineage of the family and kind of keeping the company in this branch. Like, Clancy Edward got real upset about this branch becoming, like, leaders of the family. Then it came back over here. He really does seem to be a bit of a jerk there, Maddock. Wait. Not here. Have a thought. Something Clark. No. That's implication there. Maybe it is in this other one. Yeah, the local farmhand known as EC. This is going to be a big deal. Let's see. She doesn't say her mother's name. She doesn't say her mother's name here. Just for interest. Oh, that's right. Wouldn't be looking for her name. It's his name that I'm interested in. Good point. Good point. Wouldn't have carried the mother's name there. We would need something else about Jim or James, like article or evidence-wise, to tie it to Joan or Helen Lennon. Again, that seems right. I don't know if we have to have the spouses tethered fully for it to stick. So we did the names there. Well, we did all of the music. Isn't directly off here. So I think this will relay to our... There's our album. We fully searched this one out, I thought. And we don't really have good word parsing in our search engine here. It's pretty much a words as listed. As late as 89, they're still making albums. Like, does this ever work? Shows what I know. Added a qualifier. This is the latest music. It's within a year of it, so that makes sense for him to be listening to it. Turn to form. Apparently so hard to find in stores that some fans have resorted to selling cassette bootlegs of it. Anybody remember cassette tapes? Ah, the bad old days of having to manually rewind and hope that you don't tear the film in your music media format. Short sample of one of the songs called Sun. The song is called Sun. The website you found it on does not have the full version. Okay, these matter. Every other song has said the lyrics don't matter. The lyrics, either they accidentally omitted that, or that is by implication of its absence, the lyrics matter. This is what I mentioned to people about spoilers by inference. Is the inclusion of or omission of can tell you things. Okay, this is Son of. This would just change the local music here. Just relay. The play button is to hear segments. Let's actually... Just a moment. This might be worth doing. Like, the music in the game isn't bad. This is one of the... It's about being a PI. So we're going to have this on very briefly. Oh, sorry.
Someday she depart in part, I'd never be alone. In my heart I'll always be the sun.
Oh. It rhymes. It's Joan. Okay. Took a moment to click. Shown, unknown, alone, Joan. Okay. So the spouses line up. That leaves the children. else can we infer here? Because down to the city got us. As long as I keep the snippets really short, then YouTube leveraging one of the good utilities of text audio text recognition is able to do pretty good work ripping copyrighted music out of a track within reason. The longer it goes on, the less likely it's able to. I wouldn't get copyright stricken by fictional characters, but the musician performing it or other people using that might cause it to get claimed. Like for a period, I would have been able to claim videos that had particular Monster Hunter music in them because Content ID is infallible. So we've identified the mother of this guy, but we still don't know anything about Wolf. He could easily be college age. Again, we don't know. We do not know for sure. We could just throw this out here and say, oh, well, surely, but that doesn't help. And there could be other albums. But Cherry Tree is apparently the known one. I did plug in the spouses' names. Let's do Helen Lennon again, just to be sure. Oh, now I'm just going to throw in Roottrees here, but did she take the family name? Okay, no. Helenym. Crime Blotter article about Edith Jacobson that also mentions a Helen Roottrees and a Lucinda Jacobson. 71, she was 18. Edith and her sister Lucinda were arrested for trespassing at the Miracle Congregation's church in Butler County and pretending to be church employees in an attempt to get into the room where the church houses their tithings. Caught by Helen, who was there at the time while her husband Miracle. This is telling us that we've got the name right. Just for giggles. Obey me buttons. So we have Jacobson. Oh. Huh. I didn't notice that. That's right. That's right. Oh, that might have been the legal troubles too. Okay, so we have the spouse names correctly, which leaves either I'm wrong about advertising, but let's set that aside. Which leaves these two. So we don't know what either of them do. College seems viable, but we can't really be certain. So can we... Oh, let's try the same thing. I didn't go the other way. Nothing. Okay. November Quaritch didn't work, nor do April Quaritch, nor does. Not in Butler County, but it's the only place I can assume that that would happen. So we know. I mean, I guess. Did we try that with Joan? Paul, we might have just done this. Okay. Yeah. Childish printing on the back in the 70s. That puts her at least, at most, 28. Sorry. Upwards of 28 plus. Duck? Is the duck supposed to be helpful? I'm just. The first time the duck's like, hey, have you tried doing one of the first searches the game has you do once you're in game proper? All right, duck. I I've tried having this here multiple times. This could be the wrong picture, but it's the only other picture I have. Oh, wait. I had been wondering. There's a decent chance that that is Edward Clancy and not Elias. It is interesting to see the progression of evidence that any individual person gets, because sometimes somebody will notice a thread that might be either an intuitive leap, or it will be like some subtle piece of it that sends them down a road that either you never encountered, or that is completely out of order, you know? And the nature of the game such that it is, you have like landmarks. Okay. Hey there, Laura. Did the duck say Jones with an E? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ryan Jones. I know we encountered this. Done. Staple of Butler County. Motors, which we know. Oh, by Stephen Schwartz. A game designer by the name of Jeremy Johnston really likes it. Realized it could it could kind of fit timeline wise with the game he was making, and decided to use it instead of something fake as a kind of Easter egg. Oh, I need to check it out, but if you do, I like the songs The Hardest Part of Love and Lost in the Wilderness. If you haven't already, you should hit the back button to go back to James Graphics and Print. Instead of searching for Children of Eden, you should probably search for whoever was performing it. Ah. Ooh, you're making progress, Laura. You're hitting kind of the meat and potatoes of your gameplay now. Choreography by November Studios. Now, could be dancer. You can't see me flailing my hands around. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Should have called this place No Mention Studios because you don't find any information about it. Nice thought, though. Edward Clancy Roottrees. Then Roottrees, John Miller. Hey there, Drew. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. I just noticed. I think I may have gotten distracted there, Drew. Let's see. I was about to question something. I couldn't message for a moment. Huh. Oh, I'm sorry. I've had that button off. I didn't need that button off. I've already got the music turned off. So why did I have that button on? We'll never know. Sure, I have everything spelled right. Mr. Miller and John. Okay, so John Miller, his roommate. That is where the click clacks went there, Jay. Then we have for certified mail, Edward Clancy Roottrees. Click. But first, thought I had that right.
So, you thought EC was Edward Clancy Roottrees, and his partner was John Miller?
Okay.
That's exactly what I needed to hear.
Oh, okay. That was in case I hadn't filled in any of the other optionals. Okay.
I'm Sam Madsen, though you know me as Samantha Roottrees. Yep, I got old. The only picture you have of me is from 40 years ago. My book tells the truth about Elias, the 5 pieces, and my parents. Not my biological parents, Elias Jr. and Patsy. My fathers, Edward Clancy Roottrees and John Miller. By now, you've either read Lauren's diaries, or you're just an incredible guesser.
Think here.
Lauren was right. I hated the 5 pieces. She just didn't know my full reasoning.
Explain more than just the 2 of them. No problem with us next gens.
My father, Edward Clancy, was a great man. But his identical twin Clancy and his father, Elias, were not. At age 16, my father was caught kissing a farmhand.
Yep. Confirmed bachelor.
Back then, they wouldn't even acknowledge gay people existed. Having one in the family was unthinkable. The same year, I was born. A bastard granddaughter. 2 stains on Elias's perfect family. He decided to fix both. They tried to erase Edward Clancy. They even removed his 5 pieces flavor. His name was deemed a dirty word. He became EC.
I kept overlooking that. Actually, no. I wonder... Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that the presence of a volume 2 implies a volume 1. How's Minecraft going for you, Drew?
We were sent to the farm, and the 5 pieces did their best to keep the next generation away, to isolate me from family. But Elias couldn't erase us from existence. Laura never realized I was the little girl from her diary.
Okay. Okay, so I thought it was somebody else, but it is the one that approached her. Was it that...
Who could blame me for being so confused that day? Her father was an exact copy of mine, except without
and I didn't
beard.
put the picture in.
And while the 5 pieces celebrated a new factory, farmhands did the real work. It's a fluke there's a picture of my father at all, but there he is in the background.
Yep.
The 6th 5-piece. Patsy returned, and things got complicated for Elias. She fought for my freedom, from a life she deemed unworthy. Elias relented, so long as I never learned the truth or receive inheritance. They knew I'd help my father.
But with the information that's present, it's the way that the Clanstead Trust is set up, it'd be hard to actually deny her that. Unless it is written in specifically that it has to be children of the 5 pieces, like that they are indicated in there and by marriage. Because otherwise, she's the daughter of Elias Jr.
At Elias's will reading, I learned part of the truth. The rest I learned at home. I began to hate the 5 pieces. My father made me stay silent. He was worried history would repeat, and that his grandchildren would become outcasts. His fears weren't unfounded. As you know, my son Ernie died a few years ago. He had trained to take over as president. But due to family politics, or perhaps hubris, it went to Guy. A real Roottrees. He nearly ruined the company.
Oh, what was it? Caviar flavored 5 pieces candy, as or I don't know if it was a 5-piece variation, but it was like fanciful flavors or something like that. That was, rich people flavors for the poors. But then the pancake batter one, which was not shelf stable.
When Ernie took over, he saved the operation. Over 13 years, he made the family billions. Ernie earned about $36. They got by on Debbie's salary, but when he fell ill, he couldn't pay his medical bills. His death was my tipping point.
I think this was the marker of some of the Roottrees chipping in to help.
Originally, my book was meant to expose Elias's hypocrisy. Until I started to look into the other dirty laundry.
Okay. So RR Productions, this is I wonder if this is the RR that tried to sue to get them out of the family.
Ron tried to have Robbie removed from the trust.
Oh no, okay, Robbie.
Couldn't. Robbie was a blood relative, even out of wedlock. That sounded familiar. The Clancid Trust that Elias established was designed to secure his family's future.
Yeah, Root being the... I can't remember, did Root get soaked up into the candy company eventually? But I know the rest of the family kind of shunned it to start with, because why invest money in not the candy company? Because the candy company makes them money.
His entire family's future. He couldn't write exceptions in without the whole thing falling apart. My book can definitively prove that Elias was not the paragon of virtue he's heralded as, and that my daughter and granddaughters are just as much family, at least in the eyes of the Trust, as anyone else.
I mean, all she needs to be able to prove is that her father is Elias Jr., and the way the trust is written, she's set. And this whole operation that we're doing proves that.
The Clancid Trust will secure their future. They can decide what to do with their shares. But I'm old, and I'm not in it for the money. The truth has been eating away at me for years. But now, I can set the record straight. Thanks to you. As someone who enjoys searching for the truth, you might understand the power it has. Whitewashing the past to protect the status quo can lead to repercussions in the present and future. So thank you. You knocked it out of the park. With your expert work, the truth will come to light.
Don't whitewash the past sadly has a great deal of relevance for elements of geopolitics and, local politics right now.
And when it does, my share of the Clancid Trust is yours. Like I said at the beginning, set for life. Looking at the family tree on your wall, now with my father's, everything finally feels complete.
That is kind of a little touching element, is that she was amongst with other family outcasts, shuffled off to that farm, and she developed a family with the rest of the outcasts.
Unless a whole lot more Roottrees somehow appear from thin air, this is the last time I'll come knocking. Thanks again, and so long.
Neat. It received mixed reviews. Life went on, and a new president took over the company. Tree family faded from the news cycle. Then everything changed in italics. Yay! Roottrees Mania is now unlocked as a new game. Happens to the infamous family in a whole new mystery. I mean, if the upcoming game that was advertised down here, somewhat obscured by me, here, the Incident Galley House, if this is anything of this kind of vein of game in quality, then we'll be playing that in the future too once it releases. Oh, nice.
Hi.
Oh,
I'm Clark.
Yeah.
Probably not who you expected to be knocking, but life's funny sometimes.
This is Clark Lafferty LaRue. No, wait. Clark Jacobson, I think. The son of Laura and the soldier who died in World War II. Who went into jingle advertising.
You've done well staying anonymous. It took us a while to track you down. A lot has happened in the last year. Far too much of it public. But there's stuff going on behind the scenes, too.
If we already got Sam's share of the money, especially if she had good lawyers that would have allowed her to claw back all the money she was due after it was, like, isolated from her, there is a degree of, like, merit what I would call merit of the individual that we are playing as the private investigator, that he has received what is likely millions and millions of dollars, like easily millions of dollars, and is still in this place. Like, this location is not a fancy building. Unless there is an entire, like, series of wings behind us off camera. I mean, maybe there's like a bus stop and he lives in a place with really good public transit.
I never wanted to be president. I'm not great with stress. With my mother's deteriorating
Oh, okay. Clark is the next president. He at least has some qualification in running a company.
I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'm not here for sympathy. I'm here because part of the fallout of Sam's book is that everyone's coming out of the woodwork. Now that it's public knowledge that Clancy Trust covers any Roottrees despite their history with us, a lot of potential cousins have surfaced. You may have seen that man on the cover of News Time. It was a disaster for
us. A magazine called News Time. What? I'm real famous. Haven't you seen me on the cover of print media?
And then Miracle went and made it all about himself.
I'm impressed Miracle's still alive. Was he listed as like 80 on that thing? Maybe it was only 68. 68 would be reasonable.
The long and short of it is a lot of potential cousins just showed up. Sam's helping some of them, but she's not really going about it the right way. And she's not taking calls from anyone in the family.
I wonder why she's not taking calls from anyone in the family. It's almost as if she holds a grudge.
I let it slip through a mutual friend that I found you, and I was stopping in. It's manipulative, but I'm hoping she'll reach out to you. You can let her know I'm on her side. In the meantime, if you're willing, I can share our files with you. Pass them along to Sam if she reaches out. I'm genuinely hoping she'll realize I'm an ally. Feel free to do your own research. I've been told you enjoy things like this.
I really
do. To each
do.
their own.
Ooh. Possible Infidelity 3. Okay, 1 and 2. This person is also on the original tree. Okay. We have new icons. Yep, and then Infidelity. Their final affair. Oh, wow. Double. All right, same gimmick. Previously. All right. Well, we may revisit that, but, you know, it's less of a previously on. And do you remember within the last 2 streams? So where we are right now. Ha! The 6 pieces. Anonymom, Roottrees Mania, the 5 Ps. There's Clark. The Roottrees Rift. Okay, let's... Okay, 1 year later. Ish. Bestseller for a few months. At the time, Carl had not yet been replaced. In March, the Roottrees company stumbled publicly as they attempted to respond to the book's release with multiple conflicting press releases and a clear lack of leadership. Clark was announced as the permanent successor to Carl and welcomed Sam Madsen into the family officially. The company hired an outside legal group to handle the changes to the trust, which included any other new questions of lineage. After this announcement, there was a rash of different people claiming to be Roottrees, mostly dismissed as opportunists and scammers. The highest profile of these, by a wide margin, was a rapper named Felix Fellows, who changed his moniker to 5 Ps. As a publicity move at the same time, is the only notable person on the updated tree. In another high-profile misstep, Miracle Roottrees publicly and vehemently denied that 5 Ps was a Roottrees. The Roottrees legal team then offered to do a DNA test to get him to drop his claim, and, in a moment that caught what seemed like the entire world by storm, the test proved he was a Roottrees. Suddenly, the world was obsessed with them. Anonymom and Jane Doe Roottrees in July, an anonymous woman, who the press began to refer to as Anonymom, appeared in interviews with her face and voice disguised. She claimed that an affair with a Roottrees led to the birth of her daughter, also known as Jane Doe Roottrees. In truth, this would make her daughter yet another secret Roottrees and therefore entitled to a share of the Clanstead Trust. Nobody knew it at the time, but this would turn out to be the last chapter in the Roottrees Mania saga. As more and more of Anonymom's story came out, people began to notice how much it echoed 5 Ps in nearly every significant way. The court of public opinion began to turn, confirming the world's suspicions. The DNA test, orchestrated by lawyers on both sides, proved that her daughter was not a Roottrees. This final event caused public disappointment, smugness from doubters, and countless accusations of the entire ordeal being an elaborate hoax or attempt at fraud. Things got a bit ugly, and the fun of Roottrees Mania seemed to disappear overnight. Now, a month later, it feels like a distant memory. This is a not uncommon kind of news cycle pattern where there will be like some new thing shows up. Somebody steps forward and makes it a real big deal. And then it expands and becomes it gets picked up by a lot of other outlets or commentators. And then something will happen that causes some amount of blowback. Like some element of of it being determined to be doubtful or false, but not necessarily the entire narrative by any stretch. But because there was that one moment, now all of the kind of opinion swings the other way. The outrage is now the hot new thing, and that gets coverage. And if the original narrative doesn't manage to recover, then it ceases to be. It just kind of poofs out of existence, and only the outrage exists. Repeat as necessary. Okay, so 5 Ps is our notable person, which is here. Oh, but who is 5Ps? Did we have that? He changed his name. Felix Fellows. Not sure if I like this. It's not terrible. By any stretch, not terrible. Is rapper specific, or do I get musician? All right, let's do some web searches. That is such an accurate sound. Like I was saying, it's the game scene investigators. You had to type things out. Like, you had to be fully accurate in every assertion you made in the, like, stage end worksheets. It was not a click to accept. It was write this in, get the name right. And I don't know... I can't say that's necessarily better, because what I'd like to be able to do in that kind of scenario is that like, instead of being supplied with all the names, being able to select it and say, hey, that's a name that I want to remember, kind of thing. Or that upon encountering the name, it gets recorded. You don't know all of them up front. I found some recent radio play after being confirmed as a lost Roottrees. Particular for harsh reviews of modern music that gives his most recent album, Root of All Evil, 1 star out of 7 for whatever reason, with the headline, More Poser Than My Action Figure Collection. Mentions his real name is David, and he used to go by Dirte Davy. Ah, okay. He likes his consonants. The author rues the fact that this rebranding was a blatant marketing stunt at the expense of his mother's tragic past. She overdosed when he was 16. Apparently, only one of the songs on the album is new, and the others are simply rewritten to turn blatant references to sex, drugs, and violence into clumsy euphemisms. His rise to the prominence was kickstarted when he appeared a few months ago on the cover of News Time, holding a photo of his mother with Guy Hudson. All right. At first, the Roottrees company denied it vehemently. Miracle Roottrees even appeared on the same magazine a week later. But since then, they've backtracked and publicly welcomed him to the family. The press release at the time stated that they had new evidence that confirmed his story. Okay. So this is David Fellows. Okay. My opinion on this mechanism is now different. This makes it so that we aren't being supplied with the exact name, and it gives us a way to get the name right without being presented with what the real name is somewhere. Like, we aren't told that the name is wrong. Flavio. Dabbed. Debut album. It's mostly material that he recorded for his mixtapes, but before he became notable, but re-recorded with lyrical differences in professional production. Dropping the signal, he announced he'd retained the infamous celebrity lawyer, Stevie Whitlock, to sue his family. For publicity stunts, paid thousands of teenagers a few dollars an hour to call and request the video on MTV, which increased its profile. MTV eventually caught on and banned the video altogether, which in turn received national news coverage and made the song even more popular. Weaponized Streisand effect. Oh, no. Let's try to find all of these. With an E. Defunct. All right. Popular and attractive enough that even though his music is not targeted toward teen girls, they seem to be paying attention anyway. Listed him amongst the hunky hotties for the past few months, with a small bio that tells you various facts. So, real name is David, when he was born, where he grew up. Song called 17 Magazine that he turned 17 in 1992. Responds to the statement that they've reached out to his agent. Does the name? The second part of Newt Mechanist is actually a title. It's a bit of an anachronistic word. Maker of like mechanisms and robots and the like. And, you know, Newt is the actual name. No, just the name Newt. Okay, let's book. We're just going to incorporate some of these because it's possible they didn't do it in the last one, but the date of birth and similar might be relevant. Oh. Yeah. Now, possible he was born in 1977. Let's take that whole chunk. We need... Nope. Doesn't help us yet. Fellows, previous stage name. He used to sell records and perform live shows in Portland. Okay, Here exactly, it was released based on some of the pop culture references, with the range thought to be somewhere between 1992 and 94. One of the songs, Yes, I Can Jump, seems to be the center of confusion. Implication here. Okay. So there was a movie in around that era that was, I believe, White Men Can't Jump. And the title is Yes, I Can Jump. Implication here is that additionally that it says it changed some of the lyrics. So the areas that it changed could be relevant. Online discourse point out one of the songs, Felix Fellows, includes someone that could be revealed to be his own distant cousin, Reina, in a list of attractive women. Online discourse from people who like to point out that in one of the songs includes someone. Yeah. It's effectively, in one of the songs, he refers to somebody that might be his cousin as attractive, essentially. A crude pun or line. Yeah, real quality individual so far. When re-released in 1999, in addition to overall toning it down, they changed the reference of Reina to Dana. Okay. We need to be able to find some other periodicals. Nothing. Mention of it on a few sites claiming it was the first release of his first mixtape. No audio or visual evidence of it existing. There are independent accounts from people who claim to have heard it, and they do generally line up. According to their recollections, it was about many different loosely connected occurrences of the number 17, mostly violent. The intro states it was written on Davy's 17th birthday and involved a fictional but glorified series of murders at a fashion show for a teenage magazine with a similar name to the song's title. person doing the violence was apparently trying to beat Dahmer's high score. Major acts of gun violence in schools earlier this year and the subsequent backlash against violent music and video games. It is generally considered in poor taste to bring it up. Yeah. That's right around the time period where we had the next, like, video games make people violent. All of this death and killing has nothing to do with our, proliferation of weaponry. Okay. Teenage magazine of a similar name to... I don't know. This might be a reference to a real world magazine. Sounds familiar, can't line it up. Yeah. Okay, so our implication is that it's Guy Hudson. Oh, but we don't have that here. Interesting. Yes, it would be a green icon. Thank you. Okay, there is a press release that it references. Rift. Clark steps in. We don't get an indication of which website is reviewing the music here. All right, let's... There we go. Periodical search of news time. We need to be able to get closer to this picture. To be Guy and someone else here. Oh, here we go. The Roottrees family picnic. charlatans and thieves. On the cover, he vehemently denied that 5-piece was a root tree. This article was before the DNA test that proved it. Miracle doesn't focus much on the details. Instead, he comes across as exhausted at the events that have been going on behind the scenes, as well as the character of those he feels are attacking his family. He starts with 6 pieces content. He says that although most of the book was based in fact, it left out anything that wouldn't fit the agenda. Points out Sam's daughter still earns a, quote, generous salary for overseeing the farm division of Roottrees, and that Sam did the same before her, Sam's daughter. That Sam's family was not destitute, and that really it was only her son who chose to take on a job with no salary. There's a lot of victim blaming going on here. Claims that though they didn't have to, the family helped pay for her son's medical bills after voting that it was the right thing to do. Story about his father, Elias, shunning EC was one-sided, leaving out Edward Clancy's blame in the whole thing. Elias gave him an ultimatum: stop sinning or be disowned. Miracle says it was EC's own choice and that Elias allowed him to earn food and shelter on the company's dime was a kindness, especially considered that he and John continued to live together. How dare! Then pivots to the fallout. He recounts a deluge of claims the clan said trust that the family has been subjected to. Doesn't cite any specifics, but says every time someone comes forward, the family devolves to arguments. They've had to hire an outside legal team to help. But so far, every case has been demonstrably, laughably false. All they do is tarnish his family's reputation, which, given the prior paragraph, isn't too untarnishy. He calls him a grifter and a delinquent and says using their name and products to sell filth to the masses. All the accusations, he says this is the most dangerous because it exposes the world to hatred. He cites 5 pieces lyrics as violent, sexist, and ungodly, and prays the boy will repent, retract his lies, and find religion. Turns to the future, states that those that wish to hear the true story can join him on his farewell tour this upcoming fall. The Miracles Roottrees are planning on touring the country's churches one last time. At 71, he's the oldest living Roottrees. Yep. The person in his glasses is 5Ps, the Felix/David Fellows. Effectively the person that the article is in response to. Or the article that this article is in response to. This is the print media form of a YouTube reaction video. It is. You have to assume that either there's some good Photoshop going on to get that in the mirrored shades, or they have actually had him pose exactly in this way with that magazine propped up somewhere around here to accomplish it. Also does not refute his claim at being the oldest living Roottrees despite Sam Madsen being born the year before him. It's unclear if Miracle made the claim out of ignorance or spite. Let's see, can we... This page hasn't been updated for at least 8 months and may now be irrelevant. The plural of multiple people named Miracle Root Tree is Miracle's Root Tree, because pluralizing things like that is fun. We're going to take a quick break and be right back, folks. And we're back. Oh, new mechanic. There's an older version of this page in the time travel archive. Show older. Miracle Sr. is going on a new tour of the United States. The previous flyer for 3 generations of Miracles has been replaced. Okay, this is the one from the first iteration. So this is the same article, just updated. Okay, good. Notable families in the United States today. Okay, talking about probably his family. Also lists the churches he will be reappearing in and mentions that tickets can be purchased at their local services. Noticeably absent are any mentions about Miracle's news appearances. Time, denying fellows, Butler. Hasn't been updated for at least 8 months. Okay, we will veer off of this because it doesn't seem to be helping us just yet. only president of the Roottrees company for a few years in the late 70s and early 80s. Faded into obscurity, except for the fancy flavors debacle. He suddenly rose to prominence again after 5Ps appeared on the cover of a magazine holding a photo of Guy and his mother. It would seem so. He was a prolific man. Debauchery and swinger parties. Like to throw large holiday parties whenever he had an excuse, and they often got very out of hand. This fact has led some people to speculate that the night he died in the car crash, he was drunk or impaired in some way, but the Butler County Police have released multiple statements and ample evidence that proves decisively that it was not foul play and that no party had taken place. Roottrees' lawyers have been quick to threaten litigation to anyone who has tried to disparage Guy or the company in public. Oops, not highlight. Butler County Police are advertised quite often in the Butler County Times. Their advertisement lists them as one of Butler County's top 3 cover bands. Quote is attributed to the Butler County Times as well, so it appears that they're locally approved. You can book the Butler County Police to play at any gig, such as bar and bar mitzvahs, weddings, and bar and bar mitzvahs, and school dances. Apparently, for an extra fee, they also play music from Sting's solo career. There are also tons of mentions of Butler County's actual police force in the newspaper, because the Butler County Times archive goes back over 100 years. Searching for police matters in the newspaper won't return much of anything relevant. Much of is a load-bearing part of that sentence. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Okay, we don't know his mother's name, but we did have a reference. Problems was first and only single released. After dropping it, he announced he'd retained the infamous lawyer. There we go. Track is the only new song in the album. The subject matter of this song is the hypocrisy of those that claim money is evil. Points out that the only people who think money is evil are those that have it, those that can afford not to be greedy. Triumphantly talks about taking the Roottrees' wealth due to it being his birthright and giving it to those who need it most, like himself. A suspicious-looking website and download it. With a history of publicity stunts and grandstanding. Still, she's managed to rack up quite a few legal victories. The 1980s for successfully suing a multinational sandwich company whose 12-inch subs were actually an average of 11.5 inches long. Argued that since the company sold 1 billion sandwiches per year, that was enough missing sandwich to make a sub long enough to span from New York to Los Angeles. The jury awarded her a paltry $5,000, but the news coverage of her crusade turned out to be priceless. There was a period where people started trying to sue Subway both because of the meme of the bread in Subway sandwiches not qualifying to be bread in some countries because it had too much sugar and was considered cake. That kind of legal requirement on foodstuffs is really common all around the world. So that already wasn't special and was only, I think, true in like Scotland or something like that. Scotland or Ireland was under law in that country, kind of thing. But there was also the fiasco with the tuna, where there was a lady suing them under the claim that there was no actual tuna, but that ultimately turned out to be false. Can we get her in? Start here, and then here. Nope. Okay. A single from his album Root of All Evil. Some airplay. Still, it's kind of catchy. Once again, they're not calling out. There's nothing important in the lyrics. Madsen checking her two dads. Classy individual. Okay. Well, at least he's calling them out for this and not saying it himself. There are a lot of those kind of things that are based in like snippets of recollection from old things. So the idea of like horse meat being cheap meat that you wouldn't use, that kind of stuff, when it's like there's plenty of stuff that is part of regular food processing that is immediately available. It's not like it's already the cheap stuff. You don't have to like come up with some alternate for it to be the cheap stuff. A great deal of fish, like fish that is fancy in restaurants, is often the cheap fish, like the garbage fish that has been rebranded. It's not different. They've already got a lot of it. Often way too much of it because they overfish, but you know. Da, 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 da. Not seeing a good indicator here. It's the indication that he is, going to bring suit, but mentions he's from Portland. Okay. Might just be that they chose not to incorporate the extra, but the fact that we have it at all could imply that it is relevant. But it has no intuition yet either. Hey. Prolific guy. The Arc of Infidelity. I already look up Guy Hudson here. Yeah. Old article. Don't know what he is currently up to. We don't know much about her. I thought there was a mention of David Fellow's mother in one of these. Like, it was in part of the relay chain here. His mother OD'd at 16, it says. I mean, I guess that's a possibility there. Because it says that genetically he is. I guess it's possible that this is a person, you know, pre-16. But she was Zach Morden's secretary at the company picnic. Joanna is also in the photo. So it's got to be someone in there. Oh, okay. Ah, okay. Yeah, no, this is his mother, Joanna, but he claims right here mentions his real name is David, and the author rues the fact that this rebranding was a blatant marketing stunt at the expense of his mother's tragic past, who overdosed when she was 16. It's really hard if she is the secretary at the time. It's very difficult to say that she's like 15 or younger in this picture. Like there's a lot of leap going on there. So like in this picture, she is a secretary. And the implication here is that this would be Joanna, but there is the possibility that this is not who is his mother because of this. It's his mother was younger than 16 when she got pregnant with him. Is unclear of when she gave birth to him, but that doesn't line up with the Joanna in the picture. Doesn't mean... Oh, when he was. Thank you. I was misreading that. And for some reason, YouTube like intercepted the first intercepted the first one. Okay. Okay, no, that scans. Okay, when he was 16, which would be thought I had another marker here. Well, it sometimes does that, but it only blocked one of you saying it. He turned 17 in 1992. He couldn't have been born in 1977. And that wasn't his song, and that he never performed it. Okay, so there will be question of how old he actually was at what time. Because if he turned 17 in 1992, that means his mother died in 1991. But if he was born in 77, then it would be 94. That was his 17th birthday, so she would have died in 93. So there is a non-trivial discrepancy there. We have a possible 3-year gap between like from when he was born. Do we have anything on Zach Morden? Is it Mordan or Morden? Morden. Probably might need to use Zachariah, but all right. Nope. Let's go to our periodicals. Old article. Yep. It like there could be an implication that he got it from somebody else. All kinds of fun. Okay, then we could look up his mother's name as Joanna Fellows. Interesting. How about tree family picnic? Nothing. One or 2 weeks that before she quit. His parents divorced when he was 4 after his father learned of the affair. Felix and his mother then moved to Portland because she was afraid for his son's life. Where she worked the register. She wasn't a secretary at the time of her death. Retail would have been like cashier, right? Hello there, Rift. That is just the camera looking over the bed where 2 of them frequently are. There are 8 cameras, so I'm not always looking at the same one. We should get Kitty Tummy on this one. Molly all sacked out. Wrapping America's Sweetest Family by Sam Madsen. Yes, I did. We are on the second half of the game, where we are looking into all of the members of the family that have been cropping up after this novel was released, after this book was released. That is Sam's kind of tell-all about the kind of the dirty underbelly of the family. Not yet released. Three press releases. There have been a couple that have said that you haven't been able to find a copy of it, but generally that's this book is irrelevant, is what it's telling you. Let's see. First one was standard. There's no president, but the entire family was made aware of the release, and that they'll verify it. Then an email 3 hours later announced that after a vote, Ron Roottrees would be taking over temporarily as interim. Now, Ron is the movie director. Went on to state that Ron is aware of the book, has verified the claims within, and would look into compensating Miss Madsen and her family. Taking immediate steps with the family to revisit the trust terms and make sure nothing like this happens again. It's quickly clear to business reporters and analysts that the time between the 2 press releases would not have been logistically sufficient to gather a majority of the family, even using conference calls. This was reported on, and a third, much shorter press release came the next day, claimed that a draft of the announcement was made prematurely, and that Clark Rafferty LaRue and Ron Roottrees would be taking over as the company's first joint presidents. Stated that any compensation plan would be based on a stringent verification process. What other games do I play? Most recently, we played Power Wash Simulator and Mind Divers. I like to find games that are kind of relaxing to play, or games that are kind of intensely thought-oriented like this. Though, also, there are a lot of like action-y games, Final Fantasy XIV, largely because the story is solid. I like Helldivers too. That's a lot of fun. I've been playing a little bit of Monster Hunter Wilds again. The performance has been improved. Still probably needs some tuning, but it's fun. Okay, anything new about Ron Roottrees lately? Here we go. So he was initially going to be president, then he was co-president, then later he wasn't president at all. Some veer into heavy speculation based on an article in Business Watch. Okay. He doesn't want to talk about it. 3 weeks ago, his mother dies in Paris, and they have seemingly made amends. His brother was the one with the gambling problem. Ripping Ron. Not the Roottrees Rift. What really happened with Roottrees? Held a preliminary vote after Carl Roottrees died, but before the release of Six Pieces, and decided that they wanted Ron to take over because of his experience running RR Productions, and because he was well known and well respected. But Ron seemed way too eager and personally motivated. They were worried he would gut the trust to remove Robbie. But he can't. That is the whole gimmick of this, is if you damage the trust, the whole thing falls apart. As in, the agreement that all blood relations get to be part of the trust means that if you dissolve it, the trust goes away and stops functioning. Saul and Ron became frustrated with the delay. Then it came out and forced action while his family was in the limelight. According to Business Watch, Ron was impossible to deal with. He seemed like he was unwilling to protect the trust, and they eventually let him go. And it was Clark because he was the safe choice. Okay, so far, nothing really about how much do I play Helldivers 2? Now and again, every other night or so. Few missions kind of thing. It's largely the greatest interest is when there's something new and shiny to play. It's a live service game, so playing when there's something new and shiny is kind of how you should do it. Oh, yawn. New president, but not of Root. We'll have to look at Root again. Nothing new really about Clark. Few seem to touch on his complex and volatile marital history. Small memorial section to the deceased family. Most recent catalog is a completely blacked out cover. Currently managed by a designer who was apparently Brenda White's second in command. Fashion scholarship associated with the Roottrees sisters. Okay, it's the shares that would have been that would have gone to the Roottrees sister were routed to this scholarship, and is managed by Ruby Legal Enterprises. Yeah. Brenda, Carl, and the three sisters all died in the plane crash. Find much about the company from before this year, though all the articles tell the same tale. After the fiasco of 6 Pieces and the revelation of the Roottrees internal law group was complicit in such a cover-up, they hired outside counsel. They now seem to have ties to multiple aspects of the corporation, including the candy company en route. Recently in the news due to a high-profile lawsuit that was raised against Sisley Sanchez. Magazine owned by a major airline, subject of one article from a recurring series about modern-day successes. Well, she's from Portland. Another person from Portland. Another was to help a local gas station chain with the rollout of a promotion that allowed gas station customers the ability to bet on the price of gas. From a double threat, her company's services are a cross between a traditional lawyer and a PR manager. Okay. Author best known for Portrait of a Changed Man and Foreign Gospel. To look at that name in a moment, but look up that one. Powerful story about a man who woke up after being saved from drowning in his backyard pool and became entirely a different person. And Foreign Gospel. Semi-random stuff. It's another red herring character. Oh, okay. Article about a book she had been commissioned to write for Guy Hudson. Not a red herring character. The magazine and Cicely herself were immediately issued a cease and desist due to its inclusion of pictures that she never had the rights to publish. Issue was pulled from store shelves, making it an instant collector's item. Oop. There's no consistent theme, tends to contain tabloid-esque articles that appeal to a wide variety of audiences, and appears in many grocery stores near the checkout line. Yellow journalism, go. Celebrities on the cover and sends it tends to latch onto and create sensationalist headlines about whatever subject appears to be popular at any given time. In recent years, that has included Beanie Babies, Magic Eye images, and even Red Bull. Often come under fire for printing fiction along with facts. Gets around this by stating in every issue that all of its articles are all the hearsay that's fit to print. Read an article about this author, an unread book about Guy Hudson. That particular issue, the Big Sass Sea Bass issue, was pulled from shelves. It's now become a collector's item, especially amongst conspiracy theorists attempting to figure out what Roottrees company was hiding. You find a recently finished online auction that listed a copy at over $1,000, though nobody bid. The Big Sass Sea Bass is a talking fish that sits on a fake mount on your wall. When you press a button and speak into it, it mimics your voice and then insults you. Many people consider it a ripoff of a more popular wall-mounted communication-based fish decoration. But the packaging makes it clear that this one does not sing. Apart from its competitors is a sardonic and sarcastic wit that will leave you reeling with laughter. It's oceans of fun for the whole family. You'll be hooked on this big sassy bass. The words reeling, oceans, and hooked are conveniently bolded to ensure you recognize how clever the copywriter was. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Appeared on the cover issue of a Roottrees related article appeared. That issue was removed from stores after the Roottrees sued the magazine. Okay, we need that issue. Focus on a talking toy fish. Article about a canceled book. The book's subject was Guy Hudson. This will be important. Basilbub? Could this popular gift be filling homes with satanic messages? Plus, this utensil that something, I think it's this utensil that will help you lose 50 pounds. Is it like a big scoop? Flensing knives, maybe? Unreleased book. Seems that that it used photos of Guy that Cicely did not own the rights to publish. Rendering this magazine useless unless you want to read about a potentially demonic fish toy. There's something about this that we could use. Same thing. Oh, and the demonic messages it supposedly said as the batteries ran low. The conspiracy theories and similar. Else, If we look at our evidence, so we already did searches here, but maybe... Boo. She has an unreleased book. What else? She was commissioned to write a book. Let's go back here. It was 1984. That was much before. New system in fall of 1999. Okay. Own history. Yeah. Most of the relevant rumors coincide with the reign of Guy Hudson. Sam was very much not a fan of Guy, and according to Six Pieces, it was an open secret within the family that Guy was very much not a fan of remaining faithful to his wife. Many of their hires at the time were young single women, and Guy often spent a lavish amount of money on private parties. This was 20 years ago, and Sam warns that most of it is hearsay. Still, you find the following information that may be relevant. Guy Hudson. Aware that the party was for swingers, rumor has it that her daughter showed up with Guy and didn't seem comfortable switching partners. His main positive contribution to the company involved expanding to markets previously untapped. When he went on trips overseas, they were often for weeks at a time, and Guy was known for spending more time and money on unofficial business than meeting with distributors and manufacturers. He said that he bribed at least one politician to open a factory in Brazil. Sam speculates that Elias may have also cheated on Gwyneth. Oh, man. Like, the Elias Roottrees. So this was Gwyneth pressured Elias to allow Sam to show up in the family. He was very much against it. So it was, she was born out of wedlock. And it's like that scandal rippled out. It's Elias was very focused on the image of the family. So the gay child, the child born out of wedlock, all of those were issues for Elias. Elias and Gwyneth were known to loudly argue, sometimes about another woman. Sam also says her son Ernie once asked her, "Who's Beth?" As far as Sam knows, Elias once had a secretary named Elizabeth. A different Elizabeth than that supervisor from the farm. Okay. Number of restaurants. Not because it's a chain, just because it seems to be a common name for an Italian restaurant. Copy, paste, Butler County. Italian restaurant has been in Butler County twice. When it closed in 1992, the owner, Rochelle Zimmer, sold the land the building was on, and at the time of the article, she was unsure if the restaurant would move to a new location or if she would retire. A piece from Valentine's Day in 1978 that asked recently married residents how they met. Garland said her husband Steve was a chef when she met when she delivered produce. Caterer. Okay. P-U... Might be under a different name. Sued by Steve Garland. So now we're going to look up Steve Garland. weekend cookie class, gourmet for the groovy. Been giving lessons from his home kitchen for the last month, so he can keep an eye on his son. The third was from untitled local author sued by former Butler County resident. Is it a local author by the name of Mark Zimmer was sued by Garland after Garland saw Zimmer promoting his book Kitchen Tales on television. His recipe book was partially plagiarized from the recipes that Steve Garland would give to his students during his cooking lessons before he moved. Article mentions that although recipes are hard to copyright, Garland accompanied each recipe with a short fiction on how he learned it. These usually doubled as a way to remember certain ingredients. Garland's bean salad, for example, involved making a trade with a gnome for some magic beans. Apparently, these stories were found word for word in Zimmer's cookbook, in addition to additional stories that followed the same format. Okay, so we need Mark Zimmer and Kitchen Tales. Copies available, re-released as Garnishing the Truth. Har har. Credited to Garland and Zimmer, it was released in 1994. Quite successful after the duo appeared to promote it on a daytime talk show. Okay, so this is post-lawsuit. They probably, because Zimmer added his own stories by collaborating, they could, like, re-release it, and both of them get credit. So let's start with Steve Garland. Yep. Series of acknowledgments. Christine, thank you for everything. Your support means the world to me, and your apple of my pie. Haha. James and Robert, you're becoming amazing men and incredible chefs. I guess I'm a good teacher. Finals to Mark Zimmer. You proved my storytelling approach to recipes could be popular. Without you, this book couldn't exist. Welcome back, Drew. Okay. Yep. And Mark Zimmer also reveals the book. First met Steve in 1979 when he taught cooking. Next time I saw him was over a decade later when he was suing me for stealing his recipes. Yeah, really. Steve and I had more in common than we thought. Instead of settling in court, we settled it at McCarran's brew house over a game of darts. They said they'd give us the first drink of the night for free if we mentioned them Good point. Beverage. I agree. We'd both rather make a ton of money together than spend a ton of money on lawyers. I'd meet a best friend so late in life, but I've decided to retire. When I decided to retire, I moved to Boston just so we could hang out. Up in Boston, website, bar's been around a long time. One regular Stevie G wrote a book about food. I prefer cocktails. Yeah, here we go. So grab a bite at his kid's joint, Fry Die. Let's get the whole thing here. Website, locals seem to mention them. It's not a full restaurant, just a front door and a very small interior with a window. Only serves vegetables, but a lot of reviews say that in spite of that, it's delicious. So I called my short story about it listed on a website called My Boston Homepage. Whoever runs the page seems to just link to random sites related to Boston, tell personal anecdotes related to Boston, and give their relatively short opinion on things in Boston. It's very unorganized. Said about Friday, wicked overrated. I saw it in the chef's signature, so I went, and there was a huge line, and they didn't have a single meat dish. What's even the point? There's a huge line. Magazine. Nope. Chef's signature covered Friday less than a year ago, right around the time you were doing your initial investigation. Each article in Chef's signature tends to focus on a restaurant, and like the magazine's name implies, each restaurant lists the one main dish that the head chef is known for. Friday's signature is the samosa cone. Also going to look for, where is he? We're just gonna look for a bunch of these places while we're in here. Hey there, Elman. Nillis. This is probably not going to get us something because it's a common name. A dessert restaurant that serves a variety of dishes meant to evoke a neglected part of the house. This includes their signature dish, Cobweb Cobbler, which uses candy floss atop a blackberry pie. That doesn't sound bad. I mean, effectively, it would be blackberry pie with some sugar over it. So, blackberry pie is not bad. Also have a cheesecake they call the Dust Bowl, which is served in a mason jar and very finely crushed cookie atop it. As delicious as it all sounds, the restaurant doesn't seem related to your search in any way. Click. Sitting down with the Garlands, New Boys in Boston. Okay, so this is so she eloped when she was pregnant, but the implication is that she was pregnant by Steve. But I'm sorry, it's the story effectively goes she was pregnant by Steve, but the implication is she's pregnant by Guy Hudson. Inspired by powerful spices found in Thai and Indian food. The samosa cone, which from a distance somewhat resembles a traditional ice cream, complete with waffle pattern. Instead, it contains fried potatoes, pureed peas, carrots, and a special ginger-based sauce. We need to take this out of Guy Hudson, and we're going to put this in somebody else here. Let's actually put this as Christine Garland. Okay, so we have a Christine Garland here. And this ultimately results in 2 children, which could be here or here. Now, in this one, we have a divorced, but over here we have a married. So this is probably Christine. It's probably not Garland, actually. There's an Elizabeth something. So I don't think it's actually Garland. Because we have Steve Garland here. Which is also probably not true. I believe she's retired as well. Effectively detectiving Ullman. But thanks for swinging by. And feel free to lurk. Around family's memories. Signature dish, the Sistine apple. The apple of my pie is the line that makes her laugh. It's actually secretly named after them, sort of. This has got to be a reference to her actual family name. But I don't see a marker for it, so... Anyhow, back over to them. Okay, James, then Robert. The age difference has left him delegated to wear the sous chef's jacket his whole life. He doesn't mind. So the red is, I think that's got to be him then. At this point, Jay, it feels like we're doing it just because. In the first part of it, it's that we're really good at it. So the implication is we have been hired to do it before. But given the amount of money that is implied that we would receive, Sam's whole share effectively, at this point, we've got to be doing it because of the love of the craft. So I think red is the younger. We have sous chef as a marker. We're going to call them both chef. These are the first two that we've got strong trace on. Okay, and we need 4 at a time again. So until we have 4 strong impressions, his line cook gig ended up being less temporary. Okay, back to the evidence. Look at 6 pieces. So there's a strong implication that we have Elias in one of these. So it's unlikely to be this unless we've got some incest going on. Which leaves these 2, which doesn't give us a good marker. Could identify her last name. Husband Steve. Yeah, Steve implies Steven. It's technically not true. You can be, you can be named Steve. It doesn't have to be just a diminutive. I'll look that up. Just cause. Or in the form of advertisements. Lauren Roottrees did do a book signing there. Notes. Already do this search. I feel like we already did this search, but here we go. We want to find her maiden name. Too high. Pretty sure I already did that search. There we go. One book collector states that the publishers were unprepared for the demand. There was no second printing. Find an alternative medicine website which focuses on cooking with natural ingredients. It mentions that one of Kitchen Tale's recipes uses salt water. The owner of the site has included a scan of that recipe. If you switch out the salt water in the recipe for a mix of 2/3 spring water and 1/3 filtered seawater, it tastes great. A plated loaf. Now, you remember, he included his own stories, but the stories that he plagiarized were combinations of kind of recipe mnemonics as well as kind of their local life. Friendship, compared recipes, and combined knowledge. She loved his salt and pepper beard. Yeah, he adored her rosemary cheeks. So it's, so salt, pepper, rosemary, probably sugar. So flour, Flora and Yates, flour and yeast. So then the sugar, olive oil, rosemary, salt, and water. King's personal baker. Somewhere in here should be an indication of the naming. Okay, so this part is she was already pregnant. Parchment was that it would be considered, okay, blah, blah. Okay, it's they were bribed to keep quiet. Father had an apple of my pie, saying, there could very well be more to that, but we still need to get her last name. Wild guess. And is she still a chef? Or did she go back to being a secretary, I thought? We don't have a picture of her yet, though. Well, though, we still have plenty of this to play, and this will probably keep carrying us for a while, so we are going to wrap up there for the evening. We will, of course, be continuing this. I'm having a good time with this game, so much like Power Wash, we're going to ride this for a while. I do intend on getting back to the game coding, but it's a matter of when the motivation strikes so I can use the momentum as it arrives. But yeah. This was a good time. I hope you had a good time watching with us as well. If you'd like to, if you like what you saw and would like to see more, remember to like, follow, subscribe, all of that good stuff. It's raining in the game. It will help the channel grow. All of those buttons are generally good. If you'd like to consider financially supporting the channel, you can do so through on-site means like YouTube memberships, Twitch subscriptions, as well as other means available through the link tree found in my profile and bio. With that said, I hope the rest of your day is good, and I'll see you next time.